Naga Students Union Delhi bra May 16 the Naga Plebiscite laga 74th anniversary manaise Safdarjung enclave te New Delhi bra. Itu event te Naga Scholars Association aro Naga People's Movement for Human Rights can be attend kuris. Naga manu Delhi NCR de thaka khan lo de. NSUD la President JPY Chisho bra itu homoy Naga la nutun generation khan Naga political movement lo de dur hoi jai thaka chinta dikhai na kuise youth khan Naga political history janibole lage movement age lui jable taro kuise itu commemoration program do khali symbolic gesture noi na ekta meaning aro bhal bra bhavna kuryara initiative ase Naga manuge political movement osor anibole nimide Tangkul Students Union Delhi la joint secretary Phungkhok SA bra Naga Plebiscite upor jankari dise aro Shelmi Sangkhil bra itula legacy upor kutha kurise Ningrei chon tungchang brabi kuise Naga manula ancestor khan pura likha komti hoilebi takan vision clear thaka janaise
It's been so long I've been waiting for decades of struggle endless toil not us freedom so much blood in order to realize the collective vision and goal of a sovereign Naga state. When that didn't work out, of course, we're forced to take arms. Now, the risk between following or taking a democratic approach and taking up arms is greater. Yet they have to take them. Which means it sort of refocuses and it brings to light how dear the vision and ideals that they held at the time, that they were willing to risk. Democratic means there's risk involved, but it's not as great as picking up arms. Picking up arms was going to invite direct threat to your existence itself, because you're fighting superior power. Yet they took that, because they're desperate. That's the first thing. So it puts Naga insurgency movement in perspective. That was not the first go-to mode of persuasion. It was the last resort. The other thing about the plebiscite is, I think this is an annual affair now. But the other thing about this is that oftentimes we celebrate this, but we don't ask the question, why it failed. I think it is important to ask the question, why it failed. And when we go down that path, when we start making inquiries along those paths, a lot of unsavory things about Naga liberty comes up. Even as early as 1950s. I don't know if you have heard of it, but there was something called People's Independence League. That
learned a very about speakers from the Naga People's Movement for Human Rights in the Mechon, and our very own advisor to Naga Students Union Delhi, Shalmi Sangkhil, who is an assistant professor, School of Ethics at Airtel University. Our spiritual leaders, our pastor Albert, and our evangelist, Inaka, the Naga Scholars Association, all our elders present here, and each and every one of you, my fellow Naga brothers and sisters. I would like to clarify one thing. Holding a program like this, I have to fairly concede, but without the support of the elders from back home, this program would not have happened. That I fairly concede. However, there must not be any misinterpretation in the minds of anyone that this program is being held just because it was prompted by someone else. In fact, this has been in our minds from quite long ahead, and we have been reaching out to back home. Of course, the information came very late. However, on our end, we consider that this is a very important day for each and every one of us, and they have already been planning for this. And we thank our elders back home, whose support in the form of resources have enabled us to organize this very modest program in our capacity. Celebrating an occasion like this is necessary. It's not merely a symbolic gesture on the part of Naga students in Delhi. We consider it important because we need to constantly remind ourselves as to why, after so many decades of struggle, of hardships, why we still continue to endure, why we still continue to, now we say tolerate, why we continue to tolerate the kind of situation that we are currently in. This very program, this very day, it signifies, it is the canon of the very thing that we are all struggling for. And one growing concern that has been repeatedly shared every now and then, in fact, I am going to say the exact same thing which I said last year when we had celebrated the very same program. A growing disconnect, especially between the younger generation of Nagas and the ongoing, the national movement. Insofar as our elders are concerned, they seem to know enough. They seem to know enough about what is going on. They seem to know enough about what has happened. But the younger generation of Nagas, there is a growing disconnect between us and the movement. There have been times when someone asked me, what is the spectrum of this? No, it's not because